Good morning, good afternoon, guys, and happy Friday. We made it. It is the end of the week, and we've actually had a fantastic week. Hello to Stone Loki. Thank you for joining me, boss.
Good morning, Purple. How are you doing?
Doing well, thank you. Yeah, like I said, we've actually had a really great week. Really enjoying the Band of Brothers streams that are going on. I think it's been a fantastic event so far. We've just had a really good week, I think. So, going to try and end this week on a high and talk about one of the best and probably one of our favourite animated series, Batman.
Batman. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. Oh, that's different series, different TV series. My bad.
We can cover that at another time. But before we jump into it, let me say hello to everybody because the chat has been on fire this morning. So we have got Dave Bob. Good morning, Dave Bob. We've got Keely Chan, Roll Tide Keely. We've got Golgo13 who became a member. So thank you, sweetheart. Thank you so much for joining. I really, really appreciate that. You are the best. If we can scroll up, I will grab it. There we go. There it is. There it is. Thank you. Thank you so much, Golgo. I really appreciate that. We have got Manowar, Neighbour of the Beast. Good to see you. We've got Mr. Haha Oni. Good afternoon. Polymies Minion. Hello, sweethearts. We've got Max Relax. We've got Project Storytime. We've got both Bash Brothers. We've got Mark the Infinitely Tired and Chris Persia. Good afternoon, or good morning, rather, gentlemen. Good to see you. Let's see, DJ Ronnie G, good to see you as well. Rab Marshall, good afternoon. Arwen Avalon, good morning, sweetheart, good to see you. Kaylee D, good morning to you, Kaylee, good to see you. Phoenix Tangent, hello, love. And he's also sent us a super chat. He says, for me, The Clock King and Heart of Steel have been the most memorable. There's something about The Clock King, about a normal guy losing it. I agree. That was one of the earlier episodes as well, if I remember correctly. Let's see who else has joined. We've got Dean Krantz. Good morning, Dean. Good to see you. And let me just make sure I'm not missing anyone. We've got Sir Persalot and we've got Sherry and D-Bud Martin. Hello, guys. And Leia Rose and Nearsighted Cyclops. Hello, guys. Thank you so much. Much appreciated for joining us today. So, Loki, we're, you know, of
Where
a
where
same
would I
age.
start?
Where would you start? Exactly, yeah. Or where did
Big
you start?
Bad Harv. It's Big Bad Harv. Two-Face. Two-Face,
Ah,
part one and two.
yes, the two-part episode. Yes.
Yes, Big Bad Harv. We don't want to mess with Big Bad Harv.
And the one thing that I will bring up, and we'll probably talk about multiple times with these episodes, how well they did the villains. They weren't just kind of one-dimensional. They really
No.
made you feel for them. And Harvey and I think Mr. Freeze were the best examples of this.
Yes. You felt bad for Harvey. You felt bad for Mr. Freeze. You didn't feel bad for the joke. Holly! No, you didn't feel bad for him, but you felt bad for some of these guys. Clayface was another one that was like,
Hmm.
you were like, okay, so this guy is just an actor that he got sucked into this. Oh well, if you wanna look good, you got to keep taking this medicine, and they took advantage of him, and he turned into a villain.
He did, and that is actually one of the most disturbing animated sequences that I remember that really stuck with me, where he's switching between all these weird characters. It's almost like a nightmare scenario. That was quite intense for a kids show.
Yeah, well, and then you've got Zuko in Robin's Reckoning. You've
Hmm.
got the I can't remember what the guy's name was, the ninja from Night of the Ninja.
Yes, I can't remember his name, but that was a really good episode. And just to, before we kind of really focus on individual episodes, do you think it's because they never talk down to the audience? That's why this show has been such a cult classic, and why it's you can still watch it nearly 30 years later and it's still
Yes.
fresh.
Yeah, they didn't treat you like you were stupid. They didn't treat you like you were a kid. I think the only episode, and it's like the worst Batman animated episode ever, that kind of treated you like that was I've Got Batman in My Basement. It's like the worst Batman episode ever. But even then, this wasn't just for kids. I remember I was 11, 12 years old when this started, and I would sit and watch with my dad, and my dad loved this show. So it was
Mhm.
like, even I think my mom even liked this show because of the music. She was like, "Oh, it's got the music. It's got the music from the movie." And yeah, it's got that score in the beginning, dun 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 dun. That's
Yes,
that's Tim
it
Burton's score at the beginning of
it
the
is,
show.
yeah.
So,
It draws you in, and I think we've spoken about it before. A lot of the score was done by Sherry Walker as well.
yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
especially you start hearing that like I think I did a short the other day, a DC, it was the DC
Yes.
vinyl short, and it immediately goes into from the Tim Burton music, da 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 da, and then suddenly it's the Sherry music where you hear the da 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 da, and yeah, the music, the soundtrack for this is so freaking awesome. I love the soundtrack for this.
Absolutely. And Phoenix Tangent brings up a good point. Says one of the things I love about the show is the Art Deco aesthetic. Yes, Bruce Timm's art style. The stylized characters. It was just something fresh and new, and they still look great to this day. Like next to me, I've shown them off before. I've got prints of the artwork, and I just love the character design.
Yeah, and they were almost trying to copy the old animated style for Superman. If anybody's
Hmm.
ever seen the old 1940s, um, the Moffat, the Steve,
Yes.
yeah, and it's just they're just awesome. They're absolutely awesome.
It was. So it was Bruce Timm, Steve Bennett was producer, if I remember correctly, and then oh no, Alan Bennett was producer, and Paul Dini as well. So we had these three guys that really knew what they were doing when it came to Batman, and weren't afraid to try something different, I think. And Golgo13 says, yes, the Fleischer Superman series look.
Yes, yes, the Fleischer Superman series work with the artwork, but I think it was Moffat or Moffati or it was something
Hmm.
like that. I know it was Steve Moffat or Moffati. I can't remember, but he did a lot of the artwork, and but yeah, the Fleischer. It looked like the Fleischer Superman. And if you grew up watching those, and suddenly you're watching this Batman series, you're like, oh my god, it's like they're connected.
Yes, it was almost like they were paying homage to it, but not in a, kind of making fun of it way. It was definitely a very genuine look. And as we were saying, they never once talked down to the audience, even though technically it was a kids' show. I used to watch it on Saturday mornings when it was shown. Um, when you were sitting down watching it, you thought, yeah, this is a really good show, you know. And because it's Batman, even better.
Yeah, even better.
So you talked about Two-Face, one of the best villains that they did in this. What was it about that two-part episode that you loved?
um, Two-Face was one of those characters that wasn't like in front in the rogues gallery at that point in time.
Hmm.
Joker. Anytime anybody thought about Batman, they thought about Joker, Penguin, um, characters like that. Two-Face wasn't a front and center villain at that point, and this helped really bring that out. The more you saw in the animated series, the more you saw Two-Face in other
Hmm.
mediums. So you got more of him in games, more of him in movies. You got him in the Jim Carrey, Tommy Lee Jones movie. So the Val Kilmer Batman, and it's Two Face. You got a flip side. You got good, evil, black and white, yin and yang, the coin flip. All of it was great, and how Batman used that coin flip against him with that box of coins was perfect.
Yes, that's one of the things that they really nailed the character on. The fact that he cannot make a decision on his own. He needs the
Yes.
coin. That's how deep the psychosis goes. If I remember correctly, this was one of the first TV shows where the actors actually used different voices for the different characters. So where he was playing Harvey, he would use one voice, but when he flipped to Two-Face, he put on a completely different voice, and that really cemented how divided this character was. I think Kevin Conroy did the same with Bruce Wayne and Batman, if I remember correctly.
Yes, he did. Absolutely, he did.
Yeah. And Golgo13, thank you, honey. He sends us a $1.99 super chat. He says, Heart of Ice, Mr. Freeze. Heartbreaking. Yeah. Absolutely.
And like you mentioned, those are villains that are not just, oh, I'm an evil villain. Mm-hmm. They're villains that have a lot behind them, a lot of backstory to them, and they're not just throwaway bad black hat villains.
Yes, and especially with the case of Mr. Freeze, he was almost like a joke villain until we had Heart of Ice. He had shown up, if I remember correctly, I think he was in the 60s Batman, but he was a very joke character, similar to, King Tut and Egghead. But it wasn't until we got the animated series where they gave him the more tragic backstory that he really became a much more popular character.
No, and it was that backstory. It was the writing. It definitely is the writing. Everything to do with the Rogues Gallery is all about the writing.
Yes, I think they had some trouble with some of the characters, if I remember correctly, seeing interviews with them. The Riddler, for example, was one of the characters that they really had a hard time writing for. I love some of the Riddler episodes. If you're so smart, why aren't you rich? I think is his introduction episode, and it's very clever. But they made a much more cerebral Riddler, and I really appreciate that they went to the effort to do that, and they actually came up with their own riddles rather than just pulling them out of thin air. So they really did work hard on the characters. You brought up the Joker, and obviously we can't talk about the Joker without Mark Hamill. Mm-hmm. Can you imagine anybody else playing him in that role?
Not on the animated series. I think they did that once too. I think they had one episode. I'm not sure. Someone here could possibly correct me if I'm wrong, but I could have sworn one episode he wasn't voicing the Joker. But mm-hmm. I know I can't imagine anyone else doing it besides Mark Hamill. He is the Joker.
He is definitely my Joker, and I've seen interviews with him where he said he was trying to work out the laugh, and do it, and he's driving down the road just laughing to himself, and people are looking over and thinking this guy's nuts. But it's that kind of dedication that they put into the characters, and the fact that the actors got to almost work like a radio play because they were in the same recording studio together, so they could play with each other.
And that's important. That is important. When you do that, when you have that radio style broadcast, that's very, very important to be able to go back and forth with each other.
Absolutely. And Human Waffles brings up a good point. He said, I love how much Arkham pulled from the animated series. I love the Arkham games because they were almost a continuation for me from this cartoon. The style, the characters, the backstory, the cast, it was all just spot on for me, and it really kind of hit those member berries.
When they did Origins and brought in that Joker faker, and they didn't have Kevin Conroy, it was like, well, I don't know if I want to play. I don't want to play Arkham Origins if it doesn't have Kevin Conroy and the Joker in it. I don't know if I want to do that.
Yes, and the guy that did the Joker voice, he's the one from, I think he was in Long Halloween as well.
Yes.
Where he plays the Joker, it's the same actor. And he really tries, and he does his best, version of Mark Hamill's Joker, but you can't imitate Mark Hamill.
No, he comes close. It's like, is that Mark Hamill? No. And then you realize it's not.
And Mexican Iron Man, thank you so much and good morning. He sends us a $10 super chat. He says, my favourite character with my favourite milady. Oh, happy day. But wait, am I trying to stare at you for that? Stare at you, but that glowing mic keeps distracting me. Oh, giggity. You two are doing a great job today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mexican Iron Man. Thank you, brother.
Thank you so much. And Humour Muffles again says Arkham Origins' Cold, Cold Heart was a great homage to Heart of Ice. Absolutely. I think somebody else mentioned an episode just one that was actually my favourites, Babydoll, because it shows a much more compassionate side to Batman. You know, there's this character. She used to be a very famous actress. She's a little person, and she gets written out of the show because she's too old to play this character anymore, and it basically sends her over the edge. And throughout this episode, she's trying to take Batman down, and at the end of it, she just breaks down into tears, and instead of taking her in and arresting her, he actually comforts her. I think that's a really great side to Batman, and one that we don't see very often anymore.
No, you don't see that very often. But when you see later in this series, when you see his care for Dick Grayson, when you see his care for Tim Drake, those are characters that he does care. Whether Dick and Tim really realize it or not, those are like his sons.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a very special episode, I think it's in the 3rd season, it might be in the 4th, where Tim Drake is talking to Dick Grayson, and he's like, "What the hell happened between you two?" And he's like, "It's none of your business." And he goes, "You know what? I asked him, and you know what he told me? It's none of my business. You're just like him." And Dick's like, "Okay, fine, kid. I'll tell you what happened." But Dick is basically his son. He's just like Bruce, whether he realizes it or not. That's why they couldn't get along. That's why they couldn't stay Batman and Robin, is because Dick is just like him. Yes. He's exactly the same. He says the exact same shit. And you see that come out in Nightwing. When you see Nightwing, he is bad. He's like Batman Jr. So
he is. And those are other characters, the supporting characters that they did really well. As you say, Dick Grayson as both Robin and Nightwing was wonderful. The Batgirl that we got, I thought, was really well done. One of the much later episodes actually involves Batgirl and the Scarecrow, where he thinks that she's actually been killed, and it's all it basically pushes Commissioner Gordon over the edge, and he's trying to take down Batman because he finally figures out what's going on, and that's a really it kind of flips the relationship that those two have on their heads. I mean, obviously, at the end of the episode, you find out that it's all a hallucination brought on by the Scarecrow's gas. But it was a really interesting take, I thought.
Yeah. I can't think of an episode in this series that wasn't an interesting take on something that happened. And not only that, but we get a character, an iconic character because of this series, whether anybody realizes or not. Harley Quinn was born in Batman the Animated Series, and it's not Mad Love. A lot of people think, "Oh, the first episode. What's the first episode? Oh, it's Mad Love." No, it's not. That came later. That was in like season 3 or 4, and that's when Harley and Joker, Mr. J, are on the outs, and they're not getting along. And she's like, "My pudding," and she starts thinking about how they met, and he's like, "Oh, it was all Dad's fault. I used to run around like a clown and he'd hit me." And she's like, "Oh, he's so sweet." And then later Batman's like, "Did he tell you the one about his dad and how he used to hit him when he acted like a clown?" "Oh, he's told that one before, Harley." And "No, not my Mr. J." And it's the perfect toxic relationship. It's this toxic relationship between Harley and Joker. And that's what was so great about it. That's what everybody loved about it. And today you hear all kinds of things like that would never work, or they could never do that. "Yeah, leave my pudding alone." and it's just like, it was perfect. It was the perfect way, the way it was, and y'all fucked it up. Y'all screwed it up. It was perfect just the way it was. Harley gave as good as she got.
She did, yeah.
So.
She did. And even in a couple of episodes, she actually manages to best the Joker. I think Laughing Fish, if I remember correctly, was one of the ones where it was actually, she proves that, she can get the better of Batman, and it just sends the Joker over the edge. Because nobody gets to take out Batman unless it's him.
That's right. And he throws her out of a window.
He does, and she still forgives him for it. And one of the characters that Keely Chow actually mentions, Renee Montoya, was introduced in this, and she's the character that actually comforts Harley.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Personot says, "Loki, your Joker impression is quite spot on."
Thank you. Thank you, Sir Purrs, a lot. I grew up watching this show. I love this show. I loved the Joker. I didn't even know Mark Hamill was the Joker until I watched Phantasm. I didn't even put two and two together. I didn't know. It's like I almost recognized that voice, but I didn't know who it was. Jingle bells, Batman smells, and then you get into the where you're watching. You're like Mark Hamill. Mark Hamill's Luke Skywalker. Holy shit! Luke Skywalker's the Joker. Yeah, and you have that moment of awakening, and you're like, oh my god, the farm boy is the evil villain. Of course he is, because that's
Of
what all
course he
farm
is.
boys turn into, is they turn into the villain.
And Armin says Harley is one of my favourites. Love the little bit of crazy, and like you say, she gave as good as she got, and
That's right.
she was a well-rounded character. I really like Harley, but I've got to admit my favourite version of her is the one from the animated series. I love the black and red outfit,
Yep.
the Harlequin outfit.
And here's what's most dangerous. The most dangerous thing about Harley Quinn, and this is what they have completely gotten wrong in the movies and what's going on. You've got this crazy blonde, right? So you've got this, and she acts ditzy. My Mr. J. Oh, come on. The dogs. Don't mind the dogs. But in that crazy bitch's mind is a doctor of disaster and destruction.
Mm-hmm.
I call Adega that all the time, the doctor of disaster and destruction. But Harley has an IQ out of this world, and the biggest she has almost defeated Batman multiple times and gotten further at it than the Joker ever has.
Yes, and that really, really sticks in him.
Yeah, because she can outsmart Batman. Why? Because she is super intelligent.
She is, and she's very capable. One of the episodes where she's sent out to pretend to be a lawyer, I think it's the man who killed Batman, where she has to kind of bust out Sid the Squid from jail. She plays this very straight laced, very intelligent lawyer, and she knows all this legal jargon, and she just walks in, gets him out, and the episode continues. Nobody bats an eyelid.
Nope. Nobody bats an eye.
And good morning to Rookie Critic. Thank you, honey. He says, good morning. How would you compare the animated series to the current DC animation shows? I've yet to watch any except Justice League seasons. Loki?
I just watched Injustice, and let me tell you, Injustice is one giant ball of shit. It's absolutely horrible. The animation's okay. It is not this. It is not what this was. As time has gone on, I think they've lost a step of what they were. DC Animated would kick the shit out of any animation studio out there. They were just rock solid, the best, and they've lost a step. They've lost a step. They don't have the same voice talent. They've got good voice talent, but they don't have the same voice talent that they did. And it's just not as, the stories aren't as good, and they make mistakes.
Agreed. Do you think that's because of they're pulling directly from comics that are subpar now, or do you think they just don't have the care that they once had?
I just don't think I don't think they have the care. They don't have the team they had. They don't have the care, and they don't have the team they had. Not only could they pull from the comics, but they could create.
Yes.
Okay, there's a difference between, okay, we're going to take this and we're going to make a movie out of it, compared to, okay, we're going to base our show off of these characters, but we're going to create our own universe. And that's the difference. Like with Injustice, all they did was take a story and kind of warp it into something it wasn't. It was very disappointing. That movie was extreme. That's the most disappointing DC movie I've seen since Batman Hush. Ugh.
And that was actually a story that I liked as the comic. I thought that was actually, a decent story. But yeah, I've heard it's very badly translated.
It is.
But that was the one thing about the animated series as well. We had all these characters that people knew, but not a lot of the stories were directly pulled from comics. Origins were, but the the day-to-day episodes, they were all written fresh, but they were all set within Gotham. You knew where they were going to be set. You knew the locations. You knew the characters. But they were so good at writing. You didn't have to have a in-depth knowledge of the comics to enjoy the show.
No, you didn't. And you could learn. You could absolutely learn. I didn't know anything about what was the puppet. What was the puppet with the tummy? Scarface. I didn't know who the hell. I didn't know anything about that. I never read a Scarface comic. Yes. Man, that is awesome. Hey boys, come here! I love that little puppet. I was like, dude, it's a gangster marionette. Who the hell thought this up? It was absolutely excellent, and you got to learn stuff that you didn't, and it made you want to go out and find the comics and be like, okay, I want to see how close this is. How close did they do this to the original? And it was fun.
It was, and as you say, I loved what they did with the ventriloquist, because I didn't know the character either. It didn't mean anything to me. But yeah, absolutely loved it. And Mexican Iron Man, thank you. He said, okay, it's settled. When I come to the UK, I'm bringing a Mexican Joker outfit for me and a black and white / red outfit for Purple. Let's make some mischief.
Uh-huh.
Mr. J.
There you go. Look at that, Mr. J. Just for Mexican Iron Man.
Thank you, Mike. Much appreciated. Other characters that they really kind of highlighted that maybe were kind of second tier, but they all got to shine. We mentioned Clayface. We talked about Mr. Freeze. Killer Croc, I thought, was actually given a really good backstory as well.
Yeah, that was someone I had no idea about. And you find out even more in, like you mentioned, Arkham Asylum.
Yes.
When he chops that guy's hand or he bites that guy's hand off, and you're like, holy shit, that's crazy. And it's the same Croc too. It's the same voice actor. It is. Yeah, absolutely wonderful. I've got your scent, Batman. And you're just like, damn.
They were also not afraid to use the characters for humor, because one of the funnier episodes is Almost Got Him, where they're basically sitting down. I think it's the Joker, it's Harvey, it's Poison Ivy, it's a couple of other characters, and Killer Croc, and they're all telling stories about how they almost got the bat, how they almost came so close. And the one that Killer Croc tells is how he's doing this big build-up, and the payoff is he tried to smash him with a rock, it's just so stupid the way he delivers the line. And they just did
smash him with a rock.
And it's like, it was a big rock. It's just so dumb, but it's really endearing the way they did it.
There's another one like that, because that's in season 2. There's another one like that in season 3 called Trial, and that is one of my all-time favorites, because I remember watching it like when it came out, and okay, they've got Batman, they've captured Batman, the bad guys, the rogues gallery has captured Batman, the women of all people too. It was Ivy and Harley that get him.
Yep.
And they bring him to Arkham, and they're bringing him into this room, and they've all these villains are in there, and they're like, the honorable Judge Joker, and the Joker comes out, ha ha ha, and he's the judge. He's gonna try Batman, and it's fucking excellent. It's excellent to see all this fun stuff, and to hear that this episode was so good that they were gonna do this scene in the third Batman movie.
Yes.
And it's the scene where you see Crane, where Crane is judging the people and sending them out on the ice in Christopher Nolan's Batman, the third movie. That was not supposed to be Crane. That was supposed to be Heath Ledger, and that was supposed to be the Joker. All because of this.
Absolutely, yeah, seen that.
Yeah, all because of one episode on the animated series, they were going to make this scene in the movie where he's trying people and say, you are a little schemer. Go out on the ice, schemers. I don't like schemers.
Another Joker voice that Loki can do very well. Mark says, damn, did I miss Purple Say Pudding? No, actually you didn't, but I'll say it for you, Mark. Pudding. There you go.
Just don't ask her to say caramel.
Oh my god. At least you say it correctly. Yeah. Caramel.
Caramels.
How you guys say
Caramels.
Mark says, fact that he volunteered to do it. No, he couldn't do it. Oh, okay, he's talking about something else. Sorry. I thought that was a lead on from what he was saying. Sorry, Mark. But I love that this TV show, this cartoon for kids, we'll kind of preface it, had such an impact. I mean, clearly Nolan himself was a fan, else he wouldn't have kind of paid homage to it with this little scene. And I would have absolutely loved to have seen Heath Ledger play the role that Mark Hamill's Joker did. I think that would have been so special to see.
Yeah,
now
I would have
liked
loved that.
I liked Crane. He was fine, but it just didn't have the same impact.
No, it didn't.
But for me, speaking of Scarecrow, he was actually one of my favourite characters in this. I loved the design that they gave him. I loved the first design that they gave him, where he's kind of more in the sackcloth in the red, with the red top and the brown trousers. Later on, they gave him that kind of, I suppose it's like a hangman look, like a Western look, where he's got the big trench coat and he's always got the noose around his neck.
Yep.
Which I thought was a really, really bad choice, considering who you go up against. Why would you have a noose around your neck, something that Batman can grab and swing you by? But what do I know?
No, I don't. I like the first look. I really did. And yeah, Shellback, why so serious? Yes.
Absolutely. I'm just trying to think. I did pull up a list because there's so many strong episodes. So let me just pull up a couple of others. What was the first episode that you guys had broadcast? Because I know they didn't broadcast them in the order. Again, we've talked about this with other shows that they were supposed to be. Because I think the first episode was the Christmas episode, but we had On Leather Wings.
I'm pretty sure it was the Christmas episode was the first one, because everybody was running. Jingle bells, Batman smells, Robin laid an egg. Everybody was running around singing that.
And I really liked that episode. I thought that would have been, a good opening, but for some reason they pushed it further back into, at least when we were watching it, I think it came mid-season for whatever reason. Monkey Jeebus says Scarecrow wants you to get in close so he can gas you. That's a good point. Yeah.
I don't remember what movie I was watching, what animated movie I was watching, but there was one where he was fighting Scarecrow. I think it was the latest, the Long Halloween, where Scarecrow stabs him. And I'm like, what in the hell? Which one? Which one, Mark? E, oh, ah. And I thought my jokes were bad. Where he's trying to stab him, and he stabs Batman. He can't gas him. He gasses him, and Batman's like, "Ha, bitch, I got a gas mask." And then he stabs him with serum, and I'm like, dude, what in the hell? What in the hell is this?
Yeah, why would you let your guard down? He's a slippery character.
That's right. He's a slippery ass bastard, and he's gonna gas you, stab you, do something. And it's like, yeah, no, I'm just gonna stand here while he stabs me with a syringe.
But he does that in the Arkham game as well. He gets you with the claw syringe. It's like, oh god, why?
Why?
keep 10 feet away from Crane at all times.
Well, in the Arkham games, it's the gas. He gets you with the gas first, then he comes in close and gets you with the syringe.
Absolutely. Paras says, what did you guys think about Alfred? Loved him.
Yes, absolutely. Especially in Phantasm, when every
Yes.
time he walks out and they're kissing, he's like, "Oh," and turns around and he's like, you could settle down. Your parents wouldn't have minded if you just settled down with a wonderful woman and had babies, Master Wayne. No, Alfred, I must brood and be the Dark Knight. Okay, all right. And then he's kissing her, and he's like, "Oh," and turns around, and then later, Master Wayne, you could get back together with her and be happy, have a family. No, Alfred, I must brood and be Batman. And then he's kissing her, and Alfred's like, "Oh my word!" And turns around. Yeah, I love fucking Alfred in this show. Absolutely.
I do too. I thought the voice actor that they got to play him was brilliant. It was the right level of caring for Bruce, reprimanding him as Batman, but being sarcastic as well. He had that dry British wit that that works so well. And
I always thought the Alfred from the '89 Batman movie would be the Alfred that because I watched the old show. So when I'm growing up, I watched the old Adam West show in the '60s. Alfred was okay. It was always like, "Oh, sir, it's the red phone," and that's pretty much all he said in an episode was, "Sir, Master Wayne, it is the red phone." Oh, I'll get it right away, Alfred. And that's it. That's all you got. And then you got the guy in the '89 movie. He's like, "Oh yes, my Master Wayne will be by to pick up some more Diet Coke in just a moment." What is he driving? It's very hard to miss. And the Batmobile pulls up just for the taste of it. Diet Coke. And that was the Alfred I liked. But no, the animated series Alfred in this, he is Alfred.
he is, absolutely. And just going back and talking about paying homage to what came before it, we actually had an episode where the Grey Ghost, where Adam West played a character in
Yes.
this.
Yes, he did. And he played the Grey
Mhm.
Ghost. And the Grey
Yeah.
Ghost was a television show that Bruce watched when he was a kid that he loved. And he actually models kind of some of what Batman is off of the Grey Ghost.
Absolutely. And I thought that was a really interesting take on it. And I thought, who better could they have picked than Adam West to be this kind of almost prototype, because it's a kind of noir style detective. And obviously, Batman back in his origins was that kind of character.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sir Persalot says Purple Valkyrie. It's because Batman himself is a broken character, and yet still believes in redemption because he has to be, and so he sees it in others, especially since Joker is not so different from him. Well, that's an argument that's been kind of bandied around for a long time. They're basically two sides of the same coin. One cannot exist without the other, and we have it in stories. Killing Joke, I think, highlights it the best when he says, I know where this is going. Eventually, one of us is going to kill the other.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. It's destined. This is the way it's destined to be. Is it going to be now? Is it going to be later? I don't know. But one of us is going to kill the other. If not, both of us, each other. That moment where, well, he killed Joker, but Batman's going to die anyway. That almost happens in what's his name's book, Batman Returns.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Frank Miller.
Dark Knight. Yes, Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns. That almost happens. It's very, very down to the wire that Joker almost took out Batman, even though Batman takes out Joker. Which is just something that the reason why Batman doesn't do that is because of how easy it would be to slip. How easy it would be, Joker looks at it like, what do I have to do to get you to do something bad? But it's more of like, it would be so easy for him to do that and turn evil.
It does, and it's that whole idea that the Joker kind of plays on, that all it takes is one bad day to push somebody over the edge, and Batman proves time and time again that no, that's not the case. You can bounce back from absolute tragedy and be the better person. You just have to want to.
Yeah.
And you were talking about the Joker almost taking out Batman. Now, the one episode that I love and one that I wanted to talk about was the one with Sid the Squid. This small
Sid the
time.
Squid. God.
Small-time character. He wants to be one of the big guys, and he accidentally is believed to have been the guy that actually killed Batman. And the Joker, once he gets word of this, he's not happy.
No, no, because it's his. He's his. You know, when we've talked about Harley, Harley had Batman, and Batman pretty much tells Joker, Harley had me. She had me dead to rights. I would have been dead. You screwed that up. You screwed that up. You've never been that close to taking me down. And she did. Doesn't that just burn your ass? And it really does. It really burns Joker's ass. He does not like the fact that anyone comes between him and Bruce. It is in a way you want to talk about toxic relationship. They have a truly toxic relationship, just like him and Harley. And that's why Harley's always getting pissed. If it wasn't for Batman, I'd be with Mr. J. It's that connection. So anyone that comes between that, oh yeah, they're gonna pay.
Oh yes, like you say, it is that toxicity, and Joker is, you know, the way they portray it in the animated series, the way they've portrayed it in other mediums. He believes that, you know, their destinies are intertwined, and all Harley wants is to go off into the sunset with Mr. J and live happily ever after. And I think she knows deep down inside this is never going to happen. It's not something that's going to happen, but she wants it so badly that she will do anything to make him happy. And that one of the episodes that we were talking about, the laughing fish, she thinks, well, if I can take out the thing that's getting in the way of this relationship, then it will progress. But the thing that's in the relationship, obviously, is Batman.
It is Batman. That's right. It's all Batman. It's all his fault. And she says that in Mad Love when she's like, it's all mean old Batman's fault. My puddin' is just a poor misunderstood, not villain, but victim. He's just a poor misunderstood victim to that evil Batman.
And I always wondered, you know, does she believe that deep down inside, or is she just making an excuse for him? Because every time that he's so horrible to her, every time he smacks her around, she still comes back. So where
she gives as
love
good
and
as
obsession.
Yeah, she gives as good as she gets. All this shit that we've heard for the last couple of years about how poor Harley. No, Harley always gave as good as she got. That's why that relationship was so special, and that's why people loved it, even though it was an absolute fucking horrible relationship. Harley gave as good as she got. They both gave each other hell.
They did, yeah. And I always cringe when people say this is like a relationship goal, because it's not. It's supposed to be, and it was written this way, a warning to people, don't enter into relationships like this.
That's right.
And,
That's right.
And Monkey Jesus is right as well. He says Joker doesn't understand that Bruce doesn't care.
No, he doesn't look at it the same way. And that's, I think there's even an episode about that where it's like, you think I'm not important to you. And it's this whole big thing about, I'm just as important to you as you are to me, bats.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Yes. And speaking for the dead, good morning. Good to see you. It says, just started playing Arkham Asylum for the first time. Yes. Love that they have the vocal cast from the animated series in the game. Me too. That was one of the absolute highlights. And when I found out that was the case, it made the game so much more enjoyable. The first Arkham game really is brilliant.
Okay, so Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, and Arkham Knight have the greatest voice cast for a superhero game ever. Because they're all there, they're all the same, they are constant. It's not like they flip-flop the characters at all. It's absolutely great. It's one continuous story. If you want to play Origins, you can. It's just Origins takes place before all that, and it doesn't connect the continuity. It's a good Batman game. It's just not, I wouldn't play it until after you're done playing the others. Play
Same.
through
It is.
Arkham and City and Night, and then if you want, go back and play Origins because it's a different voice cast and it feels different. It's off, but it's
It
still
does.
Batman.
Yeah, it's still within the kind of continuity, but like you say, it feels like it's a kind of mock up of what's gone before. It just doesn't have the heart that the other games have.
No,
Um, Absolutely. One of the characters that I wanted to talk about that is used now, but I think it was really introduced in the animated series and done very well, was Mad Hatter. Now, Mad
yes,
Hatter is a character that is kind of, a lot of writers don't know what to do with this character because he's based obviously on the Alice in Wonderland. There's there's some very suspect things said about the writer of Alice in Wonderland and the way that this character is portrayed. But I thought he, in this particular setting, he was done very well, and he was voiced by Roddy McDowall.
yeah, yeah, made it
Um,
worth it. I liked him. I liked him in the. I liked him in this. I liked him in some of the animated movies. They did him well. It's just, what do you do with him? What's his
mhm.
power again? What do you do with him? Oh, he can kind of take over people's minds in a way. They use him in Trial in that episode I was talking about earlier, and he's basically taken over Arkham. That's a OP fucking power for him to be able to, okay, well, I'm going to put this card by your head and I'm going to take over your mind. And then I'm going to take over this person's mind and I'm going to take over the whole prison's mind. And everyone's basically under my mind control. That's a damn powerful power. That's a OP as shit.
That is hard to do, yeah. And he's a character that's a kind of a joke character. I think a lot of people don't take him very seriously. Like you say, without his mind control, he's really nothing. But when I like the design of him, I thought he looked great. Jervis Tetch, he's a very awkward looking character. He's got the big teeth, but when he's the Mad Hatter, he's got the long coat. He's very stylized. He's got the huge hat. It's just one of the ones that I thought was done very, very well, and I was surprised with. So Persalot says, Papa Valkyrie, his love for Jay is so Shakespearean. I think the moment she realizes she always has to share Joker with Batman because they can't be without each other, she could even kill Joker in order not to share. I'd agree with that. I think the level of obsession that she has for him could possibly go that deep. But as Loki pointed out, this is supposed to be a relationship that's a very back and forth. It's not a one-sided thing. And they showed that very well in the cartoon. Not so
They
much, I
did.
think, in later versions of her, but in this one, I think she definitely holds her own, especially when she kind of branches out and then she becomes friends with Poison Ivy, and Ivy absolutely hates Joker, which is always very funny to see them interact.
That,
Because she's all,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
no,
interrupt
no,
you.
please carry on. No, carry on.
Um, the episode you're talking about where Harley runs off with Ivy and they have their own little thing. Um, you were talking about and people want to bring this up. People want to bring this up today. Oh, they aren't having a relationship. Oh, they aren't doing this. I want to tell you something. The way there's this scene in that episode where Joker shows up where Harley and Ivy have been staying. Now, Harley is running around in nothing but a white button-up shirt. That's all she
Mm-hmm.
has on.
Yep.
Ivy is talking to her and telling her what to do, and then Jay shows up, and Jay stands up and gets next to Harley, and Ivy inserts herself between the two.
Mm-hmm.
If they weren't having a relationship, there was no reason for Ivy to basically bow up to Jay and be like, "No, this is mine. Back the fuck
Mm-hmm.
off." It's
Yes.
one of those things that they did without doing it. They gave you what they were doing. They gave you the relationship without giving it to you.
Yes, they
And
left it up to the audience.
that subtle storytelling, that subtle bit of storytelling is lost, completely and utterly lost on writers of today. They scream, "Oh, it's got to be in your face. It's got to be this." No, it didn't. And it never had to be that, because they told that story subtly. And Arwen, yeah, Harley and Ivy definitely, I think between the sheets. But they told that story without shoving it in your face. You made up your own mind.
Yes, and obviously, seeing it much younger, most kids wouldn't have even noticed that, would have gone straight over their heads. It's only looking back as an adult you can see, maybe that's
Yes.
what they were getting at, It's that protective side of Ivy. Now, people could argue maybe she was just standing up for a friend. Maybe it's just because she hates Joker so much that she got up in his face. But that, as you say, is the beauty of the way it was written. It's open to interpretation. So
Right.
you can kind of see it any way you like. And there isn't any really wrong answers with this one.
That's right. and Mr. Ha Ha Oni, it was the way she did it, to me, that screamed, because it wasn't just standing up. It wasn't just standing up, and it wasn't just getting in his face. She inserted herself between the two. It was how she slid between the two and then did it. To me, that screamed relationship.
Mm-hmm.
You can stand up for your friends, absolutely.
Yeah.
But it was the way she did it, in my mind, that said, no, they're having a relationship.
Chris says, you're right, Loki. Storytelling now is as subtle as Harley's giant hammer.
Yes.
I would agree with that as well. I mean, looking back over previous episodes, the way that she's interacted with the Joker, she doesn't make any, bones about the fact that she hates him. She doesn't like the relationship. So it's kind of this build up to this later episode where they go off together, and Harley's trying to prove to Ivy's trying to prove to Harley that you really don't need this guy in your life. You can do so much better.
Yeah, you can. Absolutely.
And Monkey Juba says Ivy cares for Harley because she was the only one to give her a chance when she was a psychiatrist.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Ivy is not the kind of person that forgets shit like that. But Ivy also doesn't want to put up with this shit with her and Jay either. Ivy's like, no, he treats you like crap. No. And but he's my pudding. And Ivy's like eye rolling, like, oh my God, woman, grow a backbone and stand up to him. And yeah, I love it. I love it.
It is a great episode, and it's almost a kind of Thelma and Louise episode where they're off together and they're having these weird little side adventures, and they pull up, I think it's at a stoplight, and two guys or a bunch of guys in the car next to them start catcalling, and Harley just pulls out a bazooka.
Blows their car up. Yeah, blows their damn car up.
So it's kind of things like that, and people think, oh, Harley's such a hard done by character. But as we've said, she gives as good as she gets, and she is so much smarter than I think a lot of people gave her credit for. And the one thing that this show really did do very well, and I know Paul Dini absolutely loves this character, so much so that he wouldn't let them kill her off in the what's the film where they wanted to kill her, where with Return of the Joker, I think it is.
Yeah.
Where you don't know up until the end. And I think it was a piece that they actually tacked on because he kicks up such a fuss about this character being killed off. You think that Harley gets killed whilst trying to defend the Joker?
Yeah, Harley is not defenseless.
No.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about earlier. She has a keen mind. She has a laser sharp mind. Very intelligent. And it's that intelligence that gets her in trouble. She thinks she's seen it all. And when she sits down with Joker for the first time, he's like, oh, pull me. I was beaten. My dad used to beat me. And Harley's got issues with her father. She has father issues. So she's like, oh, I used to dress up as a clown and run around in my dad's pants. Oh, and then he beat me. And so, and it takes Batman. And even after Batman tells her, did he tell you the story about how he went to the ice rink and his dad beat the shit out of him? She's like, no, he didn't. He tells that. Well, he's got a lot of them, Harley. And it's never going to end because it's just, Mr. J.
It is. He really, really pulled the wool over her eyes. And she went willingly, though. Like you say, she's not a stupid character.
No.
But I think it's also the part, we like to, and the guys to a certain extent as well, we like to fix other people. I think that was brilliantly shown as well. She just wants him, to forget about Batman, to just, to settle down. And
yeah,
deep down inside, she knows it's never going to happen.
It's never, ever going to happen. She loves him. She's in love. Yeah, extreme Stockholm syndrome. She's in love. She's right there with him. She's going to be a villain too. She broke him out of Arkham. And she did. That's how she became Harley. He came in and poor Batman beat me. Poor Joker, Batman beat me. And she's like, fuck that, I'm breaking my pudding out of jail. And he just loves it. When she shows up in that costume for the first time, he cannot stop laughing. Why? Because he did it again. I made a femme me. I made a female version of me. Look what I just did. Suck it, Gotham.
Yes, and I think that's exactly how he sees it. It is an extension of himself. She's not a person, which is why he won't let anybody else talk back to her. And I think one of his underlings says something horrible to her in one of the episodes, and we don't see that guy ever again. Yeah. So it's that possessive side as well that he has.
Absolutely. And she started here with this show.
She did, yeah. And a lot of people forget that. I still say that Arlene Sorkin is the best voice actress that she's ever had.
I can do a good Harley, but no, she's the, she's the best. She is absolutely positively the best.
Before we wrap up, Loki, is there any other episodes that really kind of stick with you, or is there anything else that you wanted to kind of cover before we let these good people go?
Old Wounds is an episode that's in the 4th season, and Tim Drake runs into Nightwing. Tim Drake runs into Dick Grayson, and he's like, you guys were the best. Tim's like, you guys were the best team. You were Batman and Robin. You were, the greatest dynamic. You were the dynamic duo. What the hell happened? And Dick's like, it's none of your business. And he goes, what's funny? You're just like him. And he goes, I'm nothing like him. And he goes, oh, really? Because when I asked him what happened, he said it was none of my business. And Dick's like, fuck. Okay, come on, kid. I'll tell you exactly what happened because I don't want to be just like Dad. I don't want to be just like our father. But he is. He is. And the episode proves it. The episode proves that he is just like Bruce. That Dick Grayson is Bruce's child. He grew up in Wayne Manor. He grew up losing his parents just like Bruce did. He is a little clone of Bruce Wayne, and he fucking hates it. He wants to be his own thing, and he's never, even when he's Nightwing, he's still Batman. And it shows that if something happens to Bruce, it's most likely going to be Dick that becomes Batman. If anything ever happens to Bruce, it's going to be Dick that becomes Batman. Because that's his boy. That's his son. He is Bruce. He's just younger.
Yes. And not to take anything away from the character of Terry McGinnis, I thought he was actually really well done. And I liked, the Batman of the Future. I thought that was a good show. But it just wasn't as good as the animated series.
No, it was wonderful they got the voice cast. It was absolutely wonderful that they got the voice cast. That was A plus, A plus. Everybody passes that they got the voice cast, but it wasn't. There was one moment. There was a moment in, and I remember watching this with my first daughter, and being like, "Holy shit!" Um, Terry is captured by ink,
Hmm.
and Bruce has to make a decision. And he shows up at this I think it was a factory or it was something, and he's in a trench coat with a hat. And Ink's like, "You're mine now, old man." And he's like, "Think again." And this mech suit envelops Bruce, and you hear the music as he's fighting Ink. It's like dun 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 dun. And I was like, "Oh my god, it's the fucking original animated series." Yes. They got the music. You've got Bruce. You've got this mech back suit, and he's kicking Ink's ass. And you're just like, yes, thank you. Thank you, creators, for loving the original animated series so much that you were like, no, we're going to bring in the music. We're going to have the chorus. We're going to have the bat suit. We're going to have Bruce. I would have been so excited getting to be a part of that. And if Kevin Conroy didn't smile his ass off when he saw that, then he never cared about Batman, because that was like, holy shit, yes, that is the animated series. Yes.
Absolutely. I like you say, I couldn't think of a better tribute to this show that they could have done, and it really kind of, it was moving. I thought, I know it's supposed to be this action-packed scene, but it really does hit home to you, what these characters have been through, and how far and how willing to go to protect his son. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And Teasy Canadian says the excitement from Stone Loki is awesome.
I genuinely love this stuff, guys. If I didn't, I wouldn't be like, fuck yeah! It wouldn't excite me the way it does. So the animated series and beyond and everything, that all of this Batman, the only person, in my opinion, Batman is second to, has always been Clark Kent Superman. So
Yeah.
Batman and Superman are my boys. The trio, the triumvirate, the trio of Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. That is my holy trinity. That is my Luke, Leia, and Han. That is those are the three. So getting to see those three on screen together, that's fucking awesome. Getting to see them in an animated series together, absolutely wonderful.
It was.
Especially with Tim, I think it was Tim Daly, Kevin Conroy, and I can't remember who the hell did the voice for Wonder Woman right now, but I will.
Yes.
Seeing them three
I
together,
was. Yeah.
absolutely.
And we've got Warner Brothers to thank for that, for actually taking a chance with this show. It's like you say, they could have gone very, very kiddie with it. They could have, gone very campy as it's gone before, but they decided, not to talk down to the audience. They had these characters. We had this beautiful character designs. The city looked amazing. We had fantastic music. The voice cast, you couldn't have asked for a better cast. Guys, if you have never seen this show, I don't think I'm stepping over the line to say that both Loki and I would say watch it. Watch all of the episodes.
Yeah, I don't usually have stuff on like hard copies of stuff and stuff digitally, but I have the Blu-rays of this show. I have the
Look at the
I
size
have
of
the
this thing.
yeah, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I've got the little ones with the Harley, the little baubles.
Yes.
Um, and it's awesome. It's absolutely awesome. It doesn't get better than this. Um, if you could get this, get it digitally, get a hard copy. Why would I say get it digitally? Because you can watch episodes whenever you want, wherever you want. You just log in and be like, boop, I'm watching Batman, dun, 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 and you get to watch your show wherever you're at. I usually don't tell people that. I'm usually, don't buy digital, get the hard copy. But with this, it's like I got it digitally and I got the hard copy, so I love it all. I absolutely love it all.
Absolutely. And it's still fresh even nearly 30 years later. This copy that I've got is the 25th anniversary edition. We're coming up on the 30th anniversary. Guys, you can sit down and watch this today and you will still enjoy it. And Monkey Jeepers said it was Susan Eisenberg. Thank you. I'm guessing that's the voice of Wonder Woman. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
And a massive thank you and good morning to Stephen Glenn. Thank you, sir. He brings a $10 super chat. He said, who would you do a night on the town with purple, Batman or Joker? Which is the most compatible with your taste in men? Loki, nice voiceover. Have you been practicing in front of the mirror? Love.
I thought my jokes were bad. He ho 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 ha 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 ha. No, I don't practice. It's just shit I've done since I was a kid. I love doing shit like that. So
you learn by ear, don't you? I think you said before.
Yeah, you just learn by ear. You listen. I listened. I forget what superhero said that. I listened. But yeah. So who are you going out on night in town with?
As much as I like the Joker for, the chaotic nature, it's got to be Batman. I absolutely love Batman. He has always been my number one hero. I know people will say Superman or Spider-Man or Captain America, but Batman is the character that I grew up reading. I remember vividly first seeing the 89 Batman on the big screen. I remember watching this cartoon and loving this character all over again. So yes, it would be Bruce/Batman for a night on the town.
Oh yeah.
And just before we go, I did miss a super chat sent in by Golgod13. It came in through Stream Elements, and Stream Elements has just updated. So thank you, honey. He sent in a $10 tip. He said, "Morning to you and Skol. Have a good lunch, or at least more of a good lunch on me. Thank you so much, Golgo. Much appreciated, honey." So, guys, I think we've enthused as much as we can about this brilliant cartoon. We wouldn't be as excited or as happy to review it and talk about it if we weren't genuine. We are fans. We've always been fans ever since it was first broadcast. As you can see, we've both got physical copies. We've got it on digital. We've got the toys.
You've
we've
got a
everything.
beautiful. I don't know if you can move it or not. I don't know if you can show anybody that beautiful, absolutely beautiful picture you have. It will be to your left, our right, whatever. There. That is. Oh God, I love that. I absolutely love that.
And that is actually the original storyboard of Laughing Fish. And if I bring it down a bit closer. Can you see the
signature? Yes.
Signature. Yep, that's Mark Hamill. And then the other one, if I stand up, sorry guys, is up here. It's a little bit harder to see because there is a lot of glare, but it is the Arkham, and that is signed as well. So that's signed by Paul Dini, Alan Bennett, and Bruce Timm.
That's beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
Apologies, guys. Let me bring it down slowly so I don't make you all seasick. There we go.
Absolutely beautiful. Thank you for showing us that.
Well, thank you. Much appreciated. And again, thank you so much, Loki, for taking the time to do this. I really appreciate it.
I love it. Thank you for inviting me. I love it. Thank you.
And Cam says, Loki, you've got a great ear for voices. Very impressive.
Thank you. Thank you, Cam. I love getting to do that. I've loved doing that shit since I was a kid.
So, before we go and let people get on with their weekend, what have you got coming up, Loki?
Oh, I've got an upload that shit, guys. I know everybody's been waiting for the Lord of the Rings upload. This is a different format. The beginning's different. I'm doing this differently, so it's taking me longer. I'm sorry it's not out yet. I'm hoping it will be out later today. If it is not, it will be out Monday, definitely.
Nice.
But I'm gonna be gone tomorrow, so I'm not gonna get a chance to work tomorrow. I'm hoping it'll be done today.
Oh, that's awesome! And guys, if you haven't checked out the previous ones, there is one on Gandalf, and there is one on what was the other one? Aragorn. They are brilliant. I'm loving Loki's Forge. Really get a deep dive into these characters and into these weapons. So, guys, please check them out if you haven't already.
I think we've hit the right formula now, because something seemed off to me in the other two, and now I'm doing like a voiceover intro, and then the Loki's Forge hammer shows up, and there's like spacing. There's spacing.
Nice.
It's weird spacing. I didn't know what was wrong until I moved the way the intro worked. And instead of just starting that out with the hammer, it's my dialogue going into what we are talking about this week. And it's different. And if this works, I'm going to continue to refine it and do more like this. So I thank you all for your patience, really.
That's awesome. And guys, I know it's going to be worth waiting for, because Loki puts a lot of work into these. So check that out as soon as it drops. We'll be back. We've got more shows this evening. We've got the next part of the Band of Brothers, which is part 5, which is on whose channel is, I think, is it Amazing Vetoes, if I remember correctly.
Can I give a shout out real quick?
Please. Yeah.
I just wanted to give a shout out to Jedi Bill. He has been busting his ass and getting subscribers, and he is almost to 500 subscribers. So a real quick shout out to Jedi Bill. I had no idea that he had started growing the way he's been growing. Big shout out. I know he's been working hard. He's been doing Buckets of Blood Theater. He's been doing movie reviews on his channel. So guys, if you can, check him out. It's Jedi Bill 797. He's been a supporter of my channel, Purple's channel, for a long time. And he's been kicking ass and taking names lately.
Awesome. I didn't realize he was so close. That is fantastic. Well done, Bill. That is so good. I love to see this channel grow, and it's all through hard work, and he's proved that.
Absolutely. It is through hard work. Absolutely.
All right, guys. A massive thank you to my co-host today. Thank you, Loki, for joining me. Much appreciated.
Thank you for having me, Purple.
A huge thank you to everybody in the chat today. You guys were on fire as always. We had some fantastic comments. A massive thank you to everybody who sent super chats, who sent tips. You guys are incredible. I really appreciate it. Guys, I will be back on Monday as always. So if I don't see you over the weekend, if we do see you over the weekend, I will be joining Arwin, and we are on the back YouTube tomorrow. So looking forward to getting to talk to Daryl. That's going to be awesome. Don't think I've got anything on Sunday, but as I say, I will be back on Monday. So looking forward to that. Guys, have a fantastic weekend. Keep your eyes peeled for Loki's next installment of Loki's Forge, because I know it's going to be epic. And with that, I will say, have a wonderful weekend. Loki, how do you usually close out?
Be excellent to each other and always speak friend to enter. Later, everybody.
Bye, guys.